This happened when I was 11 years old, which I'm now 13, still remember clear as day. I basically lived in the middle of nowhere and I didn't have many friends. There was this huge forest I would play in. One day, I went to go play. Now, it was almost around 6:30 or so it was kind of dark. Let me mention that I lived in Wisconsin at the time. I went deep into the forest and everything was good until 7 rolled around. Now, I was used to hearing weird noises in the woods, but nothing like this. I heard this awful scream, not human-like either. It was so demon-like it scared me. I was curious, so of course I went to investigate. I got about maybe half a mile in when I saw this non-human-like creature perched in a tree. Now, instead of running for my life, I froze in shock and fear. And before I knew it, that thing, that awful, smelly thing, was right behind me. I just wanted to scream for help, but I didn't. I didn't know what the creature could do to me, so I stood there like a rock, hoping it would leave. It screamed again, but even worse than the first time, and I felt like I was going to go deaf. Eventually, after a few minutes of that thing staring at me, it flew. And I mean, flew up into a tree. I stood there looking at it for what felt like hours. I was going to whip my phone out and try to blind it with the flash so I could make a run for it, and that's what I did. Now, did I mention I was a little chubby for my age, so I couldn't run very fast? And that kinda sucked because the creature jumped and ran right after me, through those woods. I felt the world spinning around me as I screamed for help and the creature caught right up to me, and eventually, I felt like my life was over. I made a dash for the bushes, hoping to be able to hide in them, which I did. Now, I waited there for at least half an hour, thinking it was gone, so I made a dash for the back door, hoping that thing wasn't behind me. Instead, it was perched on our air conditioner. I told my parents that very night, and they called me crazy. But I know what I saw, and I'm never going in those woods again. Monsters are real, and I don't know what that creature was, but who knows what it would have done to me had it got its claws into me.
I recently retired from my job working as a U.S. Border Patrol agent. Now, there are many weird things that happen along the U.S. border. For example, sometimes at night, you'll drive up on a group of illegals, and the headlights from the vehicle should not cause eye shine from a regular person. But there have been groups of what look like people with eye shine. I mean, they look human, regular clothes, and everything. It's just that the light reflects from their eyes just green or red color. Like I said, I've seen some weird stuff, but nothing as bad as what you call the Dogman. It was a Friday night in early June 2015 when I had my encounter with this creature. My partner and I had stopped a small group of illegals, 2 females, 1 male, and 4 children. I was outside our pickup truck talking to them, and believe it or not, we're required to give them medical attention if something's wrong. This man was bleeding from his leg. I'm there handing him some gauzes and antiseptics when I start to hear these rocks slide and tumble. The light from a vehicle didn't quite reach the area where the sound came from, and I thought it was just another person. Maybe they were hiding from us trying not to get caught, so I took out my flashlight and ventured into the area. The funny thing about light, sunlight, headlights, hell, even flashlights, it makes you feel safe. You know, walking out into that darkness, the moment I got beyond the headlights from the truck, I began to feel afraid. Now, there's a distinct difference between fear and actually being afraid. What I mean by being afraid was my body began to physically react to something. My heart raced and I began to sweat as I shined my light left to right, looking to see what made this noise. Then I heard it again. Up ahead was this group of huge boulders, and on top were these small rocks. The sounds were coming from that direction. Now, my instincts told me that I needed to turn around. My body was telling me that I was in danger. And to this day, I can't tell you why I didn't stop. God knows I should have. I was about 10 feet away from the boulders when I saw little small particles of dust rolling down to the ground. And as I shined my flashlight upwards towards the top, at first I saw nothing. Then there was this movement right at the very top of the boulder. It looked like long claws, and then they tensed up and curled back. I heard a soft scratching sound, and then another one appeared. That's when it hit me. Something was climbing over this boulder. Seconds later, I saw these pointed ears and those eyes. This thing's eyes reflected red from my flashlight. It looked like a freaking werewolf. And the last thing I saw was this massive shoulder starting to peer over the top of the boulder. Then I turned around and ran back to the truck. I told my partner Josh to get in, and we pulled off. We were supposed to be detaining those people, but after seeing what I saw, they were on their own. There was absolutely no weapon that I had or Josh had that would stop this thing. As I drove away in the truck, Josh barked and yelled and screamed, asking me why we're driving away and yelling at me to stop. When I tried to explain to him what I saw, he wanted to go back, and he didn't believe me. But I had the keys, and we weren't going back. I requested to be moved from night patrol to day patrol. After several weeks when they refused to move me, and other people on night patrol started to see the same creature, that's when I retired.